Calico Ghost Town, 3 miles in a northerly direction from Yermo, California. This is the second in the series of the Calico Ghost Town tour reviews. The first video review posted earlier tells a little bit about the history of the town and revolves around the Maggie Mine Ghost Tour. The Maggie Mine Tour takes place right after the park closes, and it's still daylight hours, ample enough for everyone attending to get up and down the hill without needing assistance. The Schoolhouse Tour, on the other hand, takes place well after dark and has an age restriction, because you'll be traveling the streets by yourself in the dark with nothing but flashlights. This is well after the park is closed.
So the old schoolhouse here was built upon the foundation of the original schoolhouse. It is not the original structure, but appears to have retained activity left over from the foundation of the original structure. Down here to the left is the outhouse. I don't know if that's on the original foundation or not. Even having been rebuilt, it still looks quite an old building here. It sits right below the Calico sign. And right near the Rangers headquarters here. They can keep an eye on it. It is not open to the public except during the ghost tour. California's original schoolhouse was built in 1885 at this location above the town. What you're seeing here is a replica built in the early 1950s.
I took a shot right offhand at trying to get some activity going.
Go ahead and move that flag in there. American flag on the left. Go ahead, move that one. Let me know you're in there. Looking through the window here of the schoolhouse. Looking at the American flag. Go ahead and make that flag move. Go ahead, you know I'm out here filming. There's no one in there. Make that flag flutter, I'll know you're there.
Well, so much for that effort. We headed back down the hill to return to our motel room and to come back at dusk. The flags, which proudly fly over the park as the tourists walk under them, take on a different impression in the dark. The easily navigated streets and boardwalk during daylight take on a new challenge at night. Keep in mind that although this is a tourist destination, it is an original 1880 town and sits in the middle of the desert. As such, other things that inhabit the desert, such as rattlesnakes, scorpions, black widow spiders, seem to find an attraction to it at night, just like you did. So watch where you're walking, use your flashlight, stick with your guide.
Catch your breath as I tell you some history about our candle shop right here. So, it's fairly safe. We used to have... Yeah. It was sad because I'm the local. Well, let me catch my breath real quick. So basically, I'm glad you guys get to stop here with me because then I get to tell you the majestic view over there. That is our schoolhouse. It's a 2/3 replica of what actually was here before. Over time, things broke down. They had to replace things. However, we still get this majestic view, an actual look-alike of what was there. If you guys look over that way, it's beautiful. Their miners didn't want their kids being mined. You know, miners, they wanted them to enrich their education and be there.
And as she's telling the story, she kind of turned. She was actually looking this way. She turned, and out of the corner of her eye, she saw a man walking back and forth. And she asked the group, does anyone else see that? Well, they thought she was joking because she had just played a little joke on him. She wasn't, and shortly another man standing next to her goes, actually, I see him too. Another guest hit him with the flashlight and he disappeared after that.
But that numbing part, the part that makes them feel better.
It's not locked up.
No, it was today. She unlocked it.
I'll give us a little bit of light though, just so we have some. We're not in complete darkness. All right. everybody good? I think it's funny, everyone always sits in the back in here too. Just like you do in school. So one of our most reoccurring spirits that we have here is that of a little girl. Now we don't believe it's the same little girl from outside because mostly all of those experiences have been on the outside. But there's another story of a little girl who, before they actually had a bridge across here, because they didn't always like their children as much as we do now, the kids would have to walk up and down the hill to get here. And one of the girls fell, and she hit her head, and she had passed away. Well, her spirit is probably one of our most common spirits here at the schoolhouse. Especially, I don't have any children with us tonight, but especially the children see and feel her. They'll be sitting on the steps outside, and they'll feel a hand on their shoulder. She's said to be wearing a little white dress. And basically she keeps to the children for the most part that see her, though I do believe last week on the ghost tour, on Bridget's tour, they actually did see her from across the street before Bridget started telling me these stories, so someone was able to see her before they even knew that we had her here. So she's one of our most reoccurring ones.
Being allowed to go into this old town at the dead of night is fascinating, and the cost of the tour itself is very affordable. At the time of the posting of this video, is at $10 per person. The only issue that I had was that the tour guides had to recount everything secondhand. They had no personal experiences. They actually read from notes, and at one point actually took excerpts from a book that's popular in one of the tourist shops there. I know because I purchased the book that afternoon, and upon returning to the hotel room had read it before we came back. If I'm going to take time to listen to a ghost story, I want to hear it from the person that experienced it firsthand, not second or third hand where it could be elaborated on.
So the spirits need to pull energy from places. Because we have so many spirits here and that they're very active, they're pulling the energy from wherever they can. These foreign tourists were here, and this was back before we were all vandals and bad people, when we were actually allowed to come into the schoolhouse. And they came in, they looked around, they hung out with the teacher that was here, the dossier kind of person, who's dressed as the last teacher that we had here. Her name is Mrs. Oliver. Thank you. I forget her name. And so she was in here, talked to her, had a great time, took a picture with her, left, went back to their country. Now this is, mind you, back before you had digital stuff. When they developed the pictures later, they noticed that there was actually an empty spot on the picture where the teacher would have been standing. So these people are actually spent time with a full apparition speaking with her.
And a little boy, he looks over and says, "Hey, who's that?" And I said, "What?" And he looks over. As we know, even in the dark, our bodies cast shadows. And you were able to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which the little boy did this. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. But what's that? And just as they were able to look at the last shadow of what looked to be part of the size that little boy would be, it disappeared. Right here by this window.
All right, guys, we're going to start off with, oh, jeez.
So neat.
They're like children.
Yeah?
So the chalk's right
Oh,
there.
it was right.
So I'm going to turn the light up just a little bit.
No.
Everybody got a piece of chalk?
All right. So
Right on the wrong
let's start
side,
with some
maybe.
simple things first. Go ahead and copy the questions onto your chalkboards, class. And let's see if we can answer. Whoops, that is not.
This, by the way, was an attempt at using trigger objects.
Good clock writing.
Little. I want him to move something in here. Demonstrate to me right here.
Keep in mind that this segment of the video is being filmed with infrared. It actually was very dark in here.
How about doing class?
Does that help, class?
I'm gonna have to give up. Is that better?
Well, they're only right here. They're only not patients.
Oh, it's better.
I'll let you share.
Oh,
All right. Did we all get those?
no.
It was loud and hot in this schoolhouse. If you attended summertime, try to get near an open window. So what's the activity level of this schoolhouse? Well, as you might guess, we encountered nothing. And they make it very clear when you sign up for the tour that no equipment is permitted. That means no EMF detectors, no REM pods, no millimeters, no ghost boxes, anything that's audible, nothing, period. So actually, we have no way of knowing if there's anything there or not. They'll tell you that the agreement they have with the Park Service is that no equipment is permitted. But I kind of wonder if it's not something that the guides themselves cooked up in order to just prevent distractions in their tour.